Kurute. We're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 37. I've just read the Sanskrit shloka because recording just started, so mentioning which words it is, so that people in the future have the reference of the verse. So we're reading synonyms right now. Yatha, just as, idhamsi, firewood, samiddaha, blazing, agni, fire, bhasmasat, ashes, kurute, turns, Arjuna, O Arjun, Gyanagni, the fire of knowledge, Sarva Karmani, all reactions to material activities, Bhasmasat, to ashes, Kurute, it turns, Tatha, similarly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As a blazing fire turns firewoods to ashes, O Arjun, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Purport. Perfect knowledge of self and superself and of their relationship is compared herein to fire. This fire not only burns up all reactions to impious activities, but also all reactions to pious activities, turning them to ashes. There are many stages of reaction: reaction in the making, reaction fructifying, reaction already achieved, and reaction a priori. But knowledge of the constitutional position of the living entity burns everything to ashes. When one is in complete knowledge, all reactions, both a priori and a posteriori, are consumed. In the Vedas, Brahad Aranyak Upanishad 4.4.22, it is stated, Ubhe Uddhavese ete tarati amritaha sadhva asadhuni. One overcomes both the pious and impious reactions of work. Om Jnanam Timirindasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhuvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yate Dhamsi Samidhognir Bhasmasat Kurute Arjuna Jnanagni Sarva Karmani Bhasma Sat Kurute Tatha. So this verse is being spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjun in the battle of Kurukshetra, and is beautifully comparing the knowledge to the fire. Knowledge to the fire which can burn the reactions which is compared to the wood to ashes. When there is a forest fire, then one thing that is killed immediately, almost immediately, are the snakes. Srila Prabhupada explains at various places that in forest fire, first thing to be killed is the snakes, because there's dry leaves all around the forest and the snakes can't get away. And as soon as the forest fire is emerging or burns, then the snakes burn away. At least four-legged animals or two-legged animals, they have some, the four-legged animals, they have some chance to go away and run away. But snakes have no chance to run away. So these snakes of reactions are set by Krishna to be burned by the knowledge. Now, it is very interesting that Krishna has taken this analogy and he has mentioned that they burn to ashes. And Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport what exactly it means. So there are quite a few key words in this particular verse. One is the knowledge in itself is a key word. What is this knowledge that Krishna is talking about? Is this knowledge that we know about, the knowledge of this material world, the scientific knowledge, the knowledge of computer science, the knowledge of uh, how to create artificial intelligence in the web environment, wherein you can have your avatars floating into uh, a simulated condition, or a knowledge by which our technologists, present technologists, are building up the future of the so-called modern world, wherein you will be able to transport yourself as an avatar into the world of ethereal existence and be present everywhere, wherever you want to be, on a click of a button, or the knowledge, various knowledge of all kinds of material achievements. Is it this knowledge that Krishna is talking about? Or is Krishna talking about um, a knowledge of a bit of mysticism, in the sense mystic siddhis, which is a step ahead from these materialist scientists, wherein material scientists are trying to create artificial intelligence, trying to create robotism, trying to create facilities for survival of the bodies for longer times, how you can titillate your senses even better with finer nuances, with the help of higher technology, larger investments, and create the artificial memories, etc. By the frowning or by thinking, you are able to uh, quick start some of the applications which will understand your desires, and the search engine will throw those things up to you. So all of that kind of knowledge, but the knowledge of mystic siddhi is even more desirable by those who are trying to become more powerful. Such knowledge of siddhis could be that I want to get things like prapti siddhi. I just want to achieve something and it comes into my hand from wherever it exists in the world or the universe, and I have that in my possession. Prapti siddhi, or the knowledge of laghima siddhi, uh, knowledge of becoming smaller than the smallest, bigger than the bigger, crossing through the rocks, walking over the water, traveling through the rays of the sun to the sun planet, going through the one part of the water in a river to the end part of the river within no time, etc. So these are even subtle materialism as described by Srila Prabhupada. This is not spiritualism, because it all hovers around the bodily concept of life. It's very difficult to find this word anywhere else but in Srila Prabhupada books. Bodily concept, Dehatma Buddhi. And what does it actually means? It just means that one is constantly thinking about that he is the body, and he is anything related to the body is also belong does also belong to him. And not only that, any space in which that body lives, the one gets attached to that space and start calling it his home, society, nation, etc. And whatever activity one does with that body becomes his field of activity, and he starts liking those activities and start doing those activities. And then he creates these relationships and he creates these byproducts, and The whole world of me is what he's surrounded by, and he is the center of that world. And that is called bodily concept of life. Now, this bodily concept of life um, is something which is driving this materialism. Nobody in the world is able to see beyond this. If you critically analyze Srila Prabhupada's lectures, and you would find that I can't put a percentage to it, but majority of the time, Srila Prabhupada has been speaking about that we are not this body, we are the souls. Now, the individual, if you go and tell him that you are not this body, how difficult it is for someone to believe that he's not that someone, what he believes to be that someone. And that's quite amazing because you think that you are you, but you are not yourself, this body, you are something else. And then that's the knowledge. That's the knowledge that Krishna has started his conversations in chapter 2nd to Arjun, saying that you think yourself very, very wise, very intelligent, but you are simply a fool because you are thinking, willing, acting on the platform of the body, whereas you are not this body at all. You are eternal soul, Atma, and you will be transmigrating from one body to the another body. And this is base is what? So now we are coming to the point that what is this knowledge that Krishna is talking about in this verse? The fire of knowledge. This knowledge, the very first thing is the knowledge of the self, knowledge of oneself. Who are you? Are you this body or are you the soul? And if you are the soul, why are you engaged in this body? Why are you this in this dehatmik buddhi? Why are you trapped into this? Why are you um, why are you constrained by the controls of the material world? Why is it that you have to die if you don't want to die? Why is it that you become old when you don't want to become old? Why is it that you don't want to feel heat in the sun and you are still feeling the heat? However rich you are, however poor you are, whatever you are, if you get a pain in the tummy, everybody feels the pain with the same intensity. Why is it that you don't want to feel the pain, but you still have to feel the pain? Why is it that you want to you're so tired and only way to remove your tiredness is to sleep, and then you feel happy, reduction of misery. You're hungry, very hungry, and then you have to eat something, reduction of misery, you feel better. I feel better now, I'm no more hungry. You have a call of nature, you don't get to release the call of nature, you're miserable. And then when you get to the call of nature, attend the call of nature, you feel, what a relief, I'm so relieved. So every happiness that one feels in the bodily concept of life is nothing but cessation of some sort of misery. If somebody is running out of money and it's miserable, but then they get some money in the bank account, they feel relieved. I've got it. So this whole business of chasing the happiness on the bodily concept of life is something that Krishna is saying is not the knowledge. That's not the knowledge spoken in Bhagavad Gita. And that's not what Krishna is speaking about, because that's third class knowledge, not even knowledge. Everybody knows about it. Everybody knows how to indulge in sex life. Everybody knows how to indulge, how to defend, mate, etc. But nobody is talking about what Krishna is talking about here, the knowledge of the self. So that's first knowledge, that we are not this body, we are this soul, Atma. Then the second kind of knowledge that Krishna is talking about is about himself. Who is he? Who is God? Because in entire Bhagavad Gita, you will see these beautiful instances where Krishna is claiming and revealing to the world that he is God. He's everything. Ishwar, Sarva Bhutanam. In everybody's heart, Krishna is present. He's saying that. In in Canto, let me just see. in Canto 5, Chapter 5, Lord Rishabdev's teachings are presented. And there's a conversation between Lord Rishabdev and his sons, in which Lord Rishabdev is incarnation of Lord Krishna. And he's mentioning that my transcendental body looks exactly like a human form. In Bible, it is mentioned that the image of the man is made as like God. Similarly, here we can see my transcendental body, which Lord Rishabh is saying, Satchidananda Vigraha. It is made of Sat, Chit, and Anand, but it looks like a human form. It is not a material human body. It is just inconceivable. Just taking the reference of Canto 1, where Bhishmadev is also lying on the bed of arrows, and when Lord Krishna appears before him with Yudhishthir and the Pandavas, and when Bhishmadev is about to speak to Yudhishthir and other Pandavas, he also says the same thing. He says, this personality, O Arjun, you call him your Sakha, Arjun Sakha, he is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the cause of all causes. He is the one who is creating this entire creation. He is the one who is responsible for each and every particle and part and parcel of his body are the all living entities. But look at this son of Nanda, that he is roaming around just like a human person, like a human being amongst all of you. It's quite amazing. So that is what is mentioned here by Lord Rishabdev. Lord himself is saying it is not a material human body, it is inconceivable. I'm not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart, I have abundant irreligion and non devotional activities. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Rishabdev, the supreme personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities. So, like this, Lord Rishabdev is emphasizing who is he? And then Krishna says that Maupete punarjanma dukkhalayam shashwatam nan napunvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. This is the knowledge Krishna is talking about. First, that you are soul. Second, that I am supreme soul. And third, that how you can rekindle the dormant relationship within your heart for me. How you can attain the highest perfection. How you can cross over this world of miseries because you yourself feel that you are this body. Yukhale mashashwatam. This is a place Krishna is declaring himself is temporary and is full of miseries. The very fact that there is a body that we are living in, Srila Prabhupada said that the biggest embarrassment a living entity has is that he has is this body. This material body is awarded to him. And why is this material body awarded to him? Because this is the evidence of the karmic reaction. This very body that we are sitting in, yantra runani mayaya, is a yantra of given by the material energy. It's a yantra given by material energy in which a living entity is sitting. This body in itself is embarrassment for a soul which is Satchitanand, which is part and parcel of God, which does not know but to love, which does not know anything but to enjoy all the time, 24/7, 365, eternally. And that enjoyment, complete bliss is always increasing and never ceasing. There is no particle or trace of miseries described anywhere in the Vaikuntha planets or the or the kingdom of God. Only in the material world it is mentioned, the Kalayam Shashwatam. The Kalayam Shashwatam. But Krishna says, Na Punavanti Mahatmanaha, those who are great souls, some Siddhim Paramam Gatim, who are yogis in devotion, never returns. They go to Paramam Gati. They never return to the material world. So, in the material world, when somebody is in Dehatma Buddhi, then one gets into the strong knots of attachment. Strong knots of attachment. It is mentioned that strong knots in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to the results of past action. But by devotional service, those attachments slackened. And by that slackening, one gets detached from home, from so-called relatives, so-called nations, wives, children, anything that is Dehatma Buddhi, anything that is related to the body. And one who thinks himself to the body, also that consciousness is slackened. And when that slackens, one is able to give up the principle of illusion of I and mine and becomes what Krishna says, liberated soul, one who is beyond this modes of nature, beyond this material world. Now, from nectar of devotion, we understand that how many types of sinful reactions are present and what kind of stages they are present. So when Krishna is saying here that the fire of devotion will burn the karmic reactions, then he's talking about 4 types of reactions of our karma. So how it all works, let's understand that. Whatever karma, whatever reactions we are receiving is due to the past karma, activities done in the past life. And whatever we're doing now, we will receive the reactions in the future. Somebody said that who has seen the future? Who knows the future? We'll just live in the present. Enjoy your life. Earn money, blow it away, do whatever you have to give that sensational feeling to yourself, and just live your life, man. Why you bother about future? But the fact is a fact. The very fact is that it's a factual information. It's not concoction, neither is an hypothesis. If somebody hits you with a hammer, it will pain. It will pain the head. It's very factual. Nobody can say, oh no, I won't feel the pain. Theoretically, someone can say, but practically, nobody can say that. If a hammer hits the head, there'll be pain and somebody can die. So this analogy is establishing that misery of this world can be felt and they're real. You feel them in reality, the miseries of this world. So if I just live in the present, what happens when the misery comes? And this misery will come in the form of birth, old age, disease, and finally death. Or maybe birth we have not seen, but we have seen people giving birth. They are in pain, and the child taking birth, what kind of pain they go through. And rest of it, we know what is old age like. People forget their memories. People can't function anymore. Their bodies of which they were so proud that they couldn't take away eyes of the mirror, and they couldn't take off the hands from the hair. They couldn't take away the brush that they were trying to decorate their body with. But now the same body, they can't even look into it. The eyesight is gone. The hands are not moving. They've got diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia, They can't even know when to eat food, what to eat, and they can't even eat food now. They can't walk. They are dependent. Such a misery. But still, they don't want to give up sense gratification. They still want to chase the material life, material happiness. And Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 8 chapter, 26 verse, Janmeshwara Shrutir Shibhir Edhimana Madhapuman Nivarati Abhidhatum Vai Kwamakinchana Gocharam. My Lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feelings. So this is what Kunti Maharani is saying to Lord Krishna. Twamakanchamagocharam. One who is approached easily by the materially exhausted man. Materially exhausted man has no proud of his high parentage, he's got good wealth, high education, very beautiful looking, nothing. Where are these coming from? It is explained that one does good karma, one achieves these kind of opulences. But when one does bad karma, he achieves different kind of identities. Sometimes they're born ugly, sometimes they're very, very chronic diseases, born very poor, gets no education. These are the signs of bad karma. And high parentage, great wealth, very good education, very beautiful looking. These are the signs of good karma. But these both are hindrances in some way. But this high parentage, etc., Mother Kunti is saying is no good because they come in our way to worship Lord Krishna. Because then one is very proud. One is very proud and he doesn't want to be dependent on someone else. One thinks that, okay, I am everything. I can do everything that I want to do. I don't need anybody unless one is hit by the old age and disease. Because that's not going to be, nobody's going to be bereft. Nobody will not be less privileged to become old. Everybody has to become old. And death is as they say, as sure as death. Who can avoid death? Nobody can avoid death. It's not possible to avoid death. So now we understand that because of certain activities, we get certain reactions. Now there are good activities and there are bad activities. For good activities, you get good results, and you have to go and somehow go to the planets of demigods, etc., and then experience those pleasures that are accrued because of the good activities. On the other side, when you are doing bad activities, bad karma, one has to go to the hellish planets and suffer the pains. And then that good and bad also occurs in terms of happiness and distress. So whatever happiness we are experiencing is coming from good karma. And whatever distress we are experiencing is coming from bad karma. Now, all these karmic reaction cycle is so difficult, just like in material world, you're contracted by a disease, you know how to solve it. It's quite difficult to track it back. How has it come? Somehow it has come. It's there. And then the vaccine is given to the patient, and so that they get inoculated. So this vaccine is devotional service to Lord. So going back to our karma, now in karma, we have something that we are now suffering for, and that's called Parabata Karma. Now this Parabata Karma is also, this body in itself is a result of Parabata Karma. So devotional service will burn all kind of karmas. So what are other karmic reactions that are sitting? So these reactions are sitting in the form of seed in the heart of a living entity. Bijam. They are not yet fructified, but there's a storehouse of these seeds. Bijam. Then the effect which is not yet fructified. Then you have this effect which is lying. So before even the seed stage, there is something which is not fructified yet. Then there's an effect which is lying as a seed, which is beej. Then there's an effect which is already mature. Then there's an effect which is almost mature. So there's papam, bijam, kutam, prarabdham. It goes like this. And then the distress, which is almost mature, you're suffering with that distress right now. But which is lying as seed in the core of the heart, it will fructify at some point in time. It's like a pile of stock. If in the material world, if somebody has committed a sin, he may not be punished because he's not caught yet. But it's recorded somewhere that we need this guy for this crime. And police is after that person. At some point in time, that person will be caught. And once he's caught, he'll be punished for that sin. Similarly, when the bad karma is done, when a pap activity is done, when a papam or a dharmic activity is done, it's recorded. And it goes and sits as the karmic reaction as a seed which is not yet fructified. It's sitting in the storehouse. And then when it fructifies, you will get the reaction. From that, it will come to seed stage. From that, it will come to mature stage. Then it will come to the complete mature stage. So prarabdham is something that is our own body, for example. It's a prarabdha karma. We can't dictate what kind of body I want. I'll be awarded a body. I'll take birth from a womb and I'll have to say this is who I am. Whether I take birth from a dog's body, from a hawk's body, from a deer body, or from a cow body or human body, then I come out and whatever complexion, whatever features are given to me, that's what it is. How am I the controller of everything when I can't even control what kind of body should be awarded to me? So this suffering comes in the form of papam, bijam, kutam. And then whenever one commits sin, that sin has a karmic reaction as well as that further strengthens the feeling of committing that sin again. So it's an irreversible vicious cycle. It goes on and on. Now, what is Krishna talking about in this particular verse? He's saying that the fire of knowledge burns to ashes all reactions to material activities. And what does that mean? That means papam, bijam, kutam, even to the level that whatever prarabdha we have received this body. But then in that body also the karmic reactions are diminished. And what does that mean? That means that no more desire to commit sinful activity. So what does that mean? That means that a desire of committing sinful activity will transform into serving the Lord. And that is what Krishna has defined as devotional service. That is what will happen. In the very next verse, which you will be hearing tomorrow, Krishna is saying, Kalinatmani vindati. He's saying in the due course of time, one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service, enjoy this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Kalinatmani. One time when Srila Prabhupada asked, how many pure devotees are there in your movement? And Srila Prabhupada said to his disciples that how many devotees are there in our movement? And there's so many devotees. So he said to the press reporter, these are all pure devotees. And they go, what? You're talking about these people who were just smoking ganja 5 months before or 3 months ago? They're all pure devotees. Prabhupada said, yes, they're all pure devotees. If a mango is on the tree and keeps hanging there, by the process of ripening, one day a green mango will become a yellow mango and will ripen, become very sweet. Similarly, all these people who have joined, if they continue to stay in the process of Krishna consciousness, in the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Ityadi, then they will continue to become, uh, uh, they'll continue to become purified, and ultimately the fire of devotion will burn the ignorance, and the knowledge of the self, knowledge of the God, knowledge of this process will bring them to close to Krishna, and they'll become pure devotees of the Lord. They'll become all pure devotees of the Lord. This is what Krishna has claimed in this particular verse. So good, doing good work, no good, because that leads you back to the material world. Doing bad work, absolutely no good. So then doing work in devotion to Krishna, because that will not produce any karmic reaction. And one will be completely satisfied within by this knowledge and would achieve the highest perfection of the existence. This is Krishna consciousness. And this is what is explained in this particular verse very beautifully by Krishna. So I'll stop here. And if there are any comments and any questions, we can take that now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my humble obeisances to you. Very beautifully explained. Very, very nice. I loved it. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kamataji. So there's a question on the chat. These papam bijam kutam sins are not yet happened, or their reactions are not suffered in this life. So as Srila Prabhupada explained, this vicious cycle of karmic reaction cannot be really traced. And every time we do any action would leave its footprint behind. There are so many witnesses. 8 directions are the witness. The sun is a witness. The Vayu is the witness. All these demigods are the witness. And somebody is making a whole note of every activity that we do. And there's a karmic reaction. It's like automatic system is there. So in this automatic system, billions and millions of lifetimes of karmic reactions are sitting in the chitta, in the form of desires, sometimes in the form of reactions. They'll fructify. So what we are experiencing right now is Parabata Karma, which is fully fructified, which is the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. We not even know how much is sitting there inside, known as kutam, in the go down of the chit, this chit is there, is described chit in the Bhagavatam. When we are deep inside ourselves and thinking so many things, isn't it? When we are sleeping, sometimes you remember your childhood, sometimes you remember how your father has loved you, mother has loved you, sometimes you remember doing certain activities that you didn't want to do, sometimes you remember, oh, how I did that, why didn't I do this, and certain desires are still residing in the heart. They're not very nice, sometimes miserable times, sometimes happy times. All that is happening within our heart somewhere. In that chit, that somewhere all these karmic reactions are residing, and they'll fructify. We're carrying them from one lifetime to other lifetime. They're sitting with us. And when the right time comes, they'll be given to us. So just like a seed sprouts into a plant and then it becomes big and then gives fruits, similarly, these seeds, they'll fructify in due course of time. And when they fructify, therefore, these karmic reactions, there's no end to it. There's no end to it. This devotional service, the fire of devotional service is the only part, even your jnanam, knowledge of the Brahman, even the mysticism, which is your yoga siddhi, nothing can close come to devotion to Krishna. Devotion, devotees of Krishna, because devotees of Krishna are just working for the pleasure of Krishna. And therefore, all the karmic reaction, when Krishna says in chapter 18, Sarva papebhyo mokshashyami masucha, don't doubt, I'll take away all your sinful reactions. This is what he meant. This is what he's saying. At the time of initiation itself, so many of these karmic reactions are already taken away by the Guru. And gone back to Krishna. Therefore, Prabhupada says that now that you are initiated, do not now harbor these material desires. Do not now act sinfully on the strength of the holy names. Therefore, you see, the biggest offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy names. One is chanting holy names of the Lord, and one behaves the way he's supposed to behave as a devotee, keeping his commitment to the Guru, keeping his vows, not committing any more sinful activities. There's no question of having any sinful reactions. This is what guarantee has been given to us by our acharyas and by our scriptures and by Bhagavad Gita, by Krishna himself, at various occasions, various places. Therefore, these papam, bijam, kutam, oh, this is like unlimited, unlimited. Therefore, the comparison of forest fire. And therefore, very first verse of Shikshashtakam is also mentioning like this, that it will burn away all the Cheto Darpan Marjanam Bhav Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Shriya Kairav Chandika Vitanam. Mahadavagni. This Agni of, we are burning in this fire. On one side, this is misery. Other fire is that knowledge of fire of knowledge that will burn the karmic reactions altogether. Yeah, we have not suffered them yet. This is all yet to come. And there's plenty of it. But it's not visible to us. Therefore, we feel very happy. And many people think, once we die, I'll be free. We were talking about suicide the other day. So they think, let me take this option. But they don't know, as soon as you die, there's a mountain of central reaction waiting there to reward them again. Where will you run away from these reactions? There's no way you can run away. You'll be found anywhere and everywhere, and you'll be given and awarded the results of these central reactions. So the Prabhupada has given the example of sexual diseases. Okay, one can use protection, but the ultimate relief is that you give away the sex life. Once you give away the desire to enjoy in that way, there'll be no question of getting subjected to any of those venereal diseases. Similarly, if one gives away the sinful activities, there's no question of getting any reaction from these sinful activities. The one who becomes devotee and does not then do any sinful activities and does not then harbor these material desires of bodily concept of life can definitely be sure whatever Krishna is saying will come to pass, that one will become, one will get out of this material world for sure. And it said there are footprints of past lives since then. Yes, billions of life of they're all recorded in our database, and they're coming with me in the subtle body. They go from, otherwise how do we think that we have these desires? And our desires keep changing in different atmosphere. We get different desires. In different point of time in our life, we get different desires. And these desires keep coming. They are insatiable desires. And because of that desire, you commit that activity. Again, a thief would again like to commit more thieving. Similarly, a sinner would like to commit those kind of sins even more and more intensified ways. Unless they are into repentance, unless they come to the path of righteousness. So it's no rocket science to understand this, that we're carrying these desires with us, and these desires are the proof of our karmic reactions. Otherwise, why do we have these impurified desires? Because as long as we have impurified material desires, we must understand we are subjected to these karmic reactions, because the purified desires has no karma, no materialism at all. And then there's no implication at all. Also, if the karmic reactions go away at initiation, what about the effects of those actions in the universe? Do they also vanish? So this universe is perfect. There's nothing wrong on the universe. It is said that the complete part of the complete is complete in itself. Universe knows how to fix everything. Srila Prabhupada mentioned many times, you don't know the power of demigods. People think, oh, how will we control population? So they start propagandas of whatever, birth control propagandas, and many kinds of such things. They don't know that how powerful are demigods. They'll control the population like this. One time Srila Prabhupada mentioned that if the entire population of the entire world is finished, demigods have the power to create an entire population once again in no time. So there's nothing wrong with the universe. There's no karmic reactions to the universe. It's the material energy of Krishna, and Krishna is properly looking after his energy. It's in his control. So the karmic reaction is to living entities, specifically human beings. The living entity in the form of other form of life, in 8.4 million species, there are many other form of life. Animal species are there. They don't get any karmic reactions at all. They are progressively going from one lower level of consciousness to the higher level of consciousness, from plant life to the life of animal kingdom, to the life of then coming out to the animal bodies. And then because they don't do anything which is against the nature, it is in the nature of tiger to eat flesh, and it is in the nature of cows to eat grass. It's not that tiger is eating grass and the cow is eating flesh. They don't break the laws of the nature. It's human beings who break the laws of the nature. And it's human beings who is awarded with the highest intelligence. And therefore, it's human beings who are always held responsible for their activities and therefore karmic reactions. So there is nothing that is going to be worrying the universe. It is just the person, the personality that we are. We will have to suffer. We'll have to enjoy. And for that, we'll have to be awarded some body all the time. And that's why Krishna is saying that protect yourself. You are a soul, and your nature is to serve, to love. And that love can be expressed through the service. And that service is in relationship with me, because you are my part and parcel. If you come to me with love, and in that way, if you serve me, then you reestablish that relationship and you'll be very happy, depending upon me 100%, not becoming independent of me. Because that's the only way you can be happy. That's how you're made. Therefore, devotional service is something that we have to do under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master who is coming in disciplic succession. If we get such a bona fide master, and if we commit to him about the process that he asks us to follow, then at the time of initiations, almost it is said that all the karmas are gone, and you can just follow the path of devotion. It says in CC Madhya Leela 15.108 purport said, unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. How to understand this with the current Bhagavad Gita verse? This is what I am saying right now. This is in support of what Krishna is saying in this particular verse, that one has to come to a guru to understand who is God, to understand how to achieve God, and that process begins with the formal relationship with the guru by commitment. And therefore, because it begins, it's called initiating anything that you are beginning, initiating. Therefore, initiation is called initiation. It doesn't mean that you have achieved the goal. It means that you have taken that one most important step, and there are many baby steps in time. Krishna mentioned in the next verse here, in time. At some point in time, as you keep practicing this, in time you will achieve it. Kale nat mani. So that's how we have to understand.
Prabhuji, sorry. Can I ask the further question on that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So basically, my point was is because I couldn't type it. So in the I think in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, I think it's a verse 38. It says, "In this process, there is no loss. Even if anything you do small thing, it will be captured or it will be recorded." So my question here is, so I'm not initiated devotee. I'm hoping that I'm doing some devotion service. But now if I leave body without taking the initiation, so as per this, it says that a person who is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. So I feel like it's a bit confused to me because one verse says there is no loss in this process. Everything is recorded. And here it says that if I'm not initiated, all my devotion service is useless. So if let's say if today I die or tomorrow I die before I initiate, because I'm not even in the process of taking initiation. So I'm assuming that me finding a spiritual master, first of all, me being inspired to take initiation, all may take years. So before that, if I die, so what happens to my devotion service as per these words of Madhya?
Just as the bad activities has karmic reaction, good activities has karmic reaction, pure devotional service has no karmic reaction. Pure devotional service. A pure devotional service, even the devotees who are initiated right now, it may not be that they are on the platform of pure devotional service. They may be on the platform of karma mishrit bhakti, that they desire the fruit of their activities. Because it's a slow process and we are coming from complete materialistic mentality. It is also said, even if you offer one patram pushpam phalam thoyam, any one flower also to Krishna, Krishna is pleased. And Krishna never let go that devotional service performed to him. So what it means actually, that all the devotional service that you're performing right now is creating what you call a gyata sukriti for you, which means it's creating piety. It is creating adhikar. It is creating adhikar to achieve that pure devotional service. So let's say if somebody leaves the body now, that bank account is not going to be empty. That bank account is carried along to the next life. When that bank account of piety, when in the next life, when he'll begin his devotional life from that level, that doesn't mean that one cannot go to the animal species of life. Bharat Maharaj is a classic example in Srimad Bhagavatam, who had come to the stage of not just pure devotional service, to the bhava stage. Still, he was awarded a body of a deer because he was attached to the deer at the time of death. But he was given a special privilege in the body of the deer, that he remembered his past life. And then in the following life, he became a Brahmin. And there he was completely in knowledge and he could successfully perform his devotional life, that he can achieve the goal of life in that life, the third life from Bharat Maharaj, or second life. After Bharat Maharaj, deer, after deer became Brahmin boy. Similarly, whatever we are doing as devotional service to the Lord is adding us, bringing us closer to Krishna. Closer to Krishna. Now, Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is directly speaking, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Leela of Lord Krishna as his own devotee. It is a warning given to us that we must become serious in our spiritual life, so much serious that we must seek sincerely a spiritual master. Where do you find a spiritual master? There's a question on the chat as well. This is a question that we must ask ourselves. When we are very sincere, when we are truthful, when we really desire it, then Krishna sends the spiritual master to our life. This is how it works. And by the mercy of spiritual master, yes, prasadat, Bhagavad prasada. Yes, prasadat, nagati kutopi. The mercy of a spiritual master can give us Krishna, and the mercy of the Lord gives us spiritual master. What does needs? It needs sincerity of the heart. So one desires from the heart, one desires from within, and very sincerely, and prays to Krishna. Then the spiritual master would come before us, and a bona fide spiritual master will then be able to give us back to Krishna. Does that answer your question at all?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
May I ask, how important is deity worship in spirituality? Pictures and paintings are made by talented artists. So it's a very deep subject. We have 2 minutes to 9. If I am not able to complete, we'll take it next time. Please remind me, Surabhi Mataji.
That's okay. Thank you so much for your time and all the answers. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Deity worship, Krishna choose to descend in a form of deities because our eyes cannot perceive Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Therefore, Krishna takes the form of a deity, a Vigraha that we can see. When deities are installed by a bona fide spiritual master, by the bona fide process, and they are served in love and devotion, then we must understand that Krishna is practically and physically is accepting our services. And that's the way to reciprocate with the Lord. When one commits himself to the worship of the deities with love and devotion, then one is worshipping Krishna directly. There is no difference between the deity and the Krishna himself. So therefore, deity worship is absolutely important, and they might be made by artists, similarly pictures and paintings, but if they are made under direction of a bona fide spiritual master, then there's no difference between Krishna and basically, to understand philosophically, everything is Krishna. Krishna says that, and Vedas explain that in every particle that exists is Krishna going in that particle himself. And Krishna mentioned that I am in the world and I'm not in the world also. Achinta Veda Veda philosophy that Lord Chaitanya has given to us, that he's simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. He is the deity and then he's outside also. So those who are devotees of the Lord, they would see only Krishna in everything. Everything, not just deities, in everything. We are conditioned souls, and therefore we do not have that vision. And therefore Krishna descends kindly so that we can engage our senses in the worship of the deities. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that the temples, or ISKCON temples around the world, they are like embassies of the Vaikuntha, embassies of the Golok Vrindavan, embassies of the spiritual world, in the material world. When you enter into that temple or embassy, the rules of the embassy applies, of the other nation applies. Similarly, and the laws and regulations, everything. Similarly, when we go to the temples of ISKCON or temples where the deities are installed, bona fide deities. What do you mean by bona fide deities? The example that Srila Prabhupada has given is a post box. If the post box is authorized, you put a letter, that letter will go to the designated address. But if the post box is not authorized by the government, you can put whatever you want to put in that post box, it will not move from there. Similarly, deities have to be installed deities by a bona fide acharya, by bona fide devotees, then the Lord descends in that deity. Otherwise, there are thousands of stone statues kept anywhere and everywhere, and all you see is they're abundant or they're not looked after, and that won't help. So here deity means this, Archa Vigraha, and then deities reciprocate, just like the deities of Gopalji travel from all the way from Vrindavan to Sakshi Gopal to Jagannath Puri in Odisha. And we can see there are many, many pastimes of the deities. So deity worship is really, really important for Gaudiya Vaishnavas.
Okay.
And we must offer our bhoga to the deities to purify our heart and activate our devotional service.
What
There's
about
plenty
the
to talk about here, but perhaps time is not permitting right now.
just 1 second? What about the emotions of the artist who are creating the paintings or the deities?
So one time, a painting
The
was
artist
presented to
must be
Srila
in mood of,
Prabhupada.
ignorance or fashion or whatever
One
those
time, Srila
moods are.
Prabhupada was presented with his deity. I can't recall exact story, but Srila Prabhupada said, no, this is not how Krishna is. Change this, change that. And he changed it. So the point is that it has to be done under the guidance of a spiritual master. Otherwise, you can see so many types of paintings of Krishna, and sometimes they're not right representations. So we have to be very conscious of what kind of pictures or deities we
Yeah,
are
that's
worshipping.
what my question was. Hands can follow the guidance, but what about the mental status and the emotions and all the human emotions that go,
So as
in
long as
creating the
goal
data,
is, as long as
Can
goal is,
a non-Hindu make a painting of
doesn't
Krishna
matter.
and it doesn't matter?
As long as the goal
A
is
Christian
to
or a
paint
Muslim, if he makes a
Krishna,
beautiful Krishna painting, so is it okay to worship that? So
yeah, there
just
are
a
many
recurring question.
Muslims. You would be surprised that all the dresses of Radha Rasbihari in Bombay temple was made by a Muslim. And so the point here is that what is the goal and who is guiding that goal? And then if somebody's chasing that goal, then his personal desire doesn't matter much. For example, when Srila Prabhupada is saying that you just repeat what I'm saying, even though we are conditioned souls, but the impact of that message is there because that message is passed as it is. So the artist, for example, is just following Prabhupada's instruction and trying to make something, then it is considered that it is under the direction of Krishna in his able guidance and devotees. Now, anybody and everybody who's a devotee and that kind of emotions are there is good. But if somebody is making it with antagonism to Krishna, first of all, that devotion will not come. You see Prabhupada books and the paintings, everybody goes in, oh, what beautiful. There's a Mataji here. I'm in Leicester now. I saw a beautiful painting. It's just, it is said that you give her the pastimes you want her to paint, then she meditates on Srimad Bhagavatam for 1 month, and she'll just pass that pastime, and she just mulls over it, and somehow she gets inspired to paint that, and then people take that painting. So it is very important what you're saying. At the same time, I'm saying if somebody is a neophyte and is working under the guidance of an expert devotee, then that's fine, acceptable. But if somebody is not under that kind of guidance, then there's a difficulty. But so as long as we are concerned as devotees, we go to the bona fide temples, bona fide deities, and we worship the bona fide pictures. So that way we are quite safe because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Is it true that if one disobeys the spiritual master, they will not find another one for many lifetimes? I'm sorry, I don't know about that, if one would find or not. But if one disobeys the spiritual master, the holy name will not manifest in his heart. You can do lip service of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It will only remain a material vibration. This vibration, the potency of this vibration of the spiritual nature will only arise when one is not committing 10 offenses to the holy names of the Lord. And one of the offenses is disobeying the spiritual master. Therefore, the utterance of the verse, the mantra, the power of the mantra, the efficacy of the mantra will not be there if one is disobeying the spiritual master. And what good it is if one has got the bona fide spiritual master, if he is obeying, what good will it be if you get another spiritual master in another life, and it won't solve any purpose. So it is better not to disobey the spiritual master. That's the best thing to do. Okay, I think it's time now. Sorry for crossing over our time limit, but thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Kripa sindhuvaicha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Leela Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.